Hi, this is Coralla at CorallaFicklin.com. This is the second part of looking at learning irregular verbs in English. So if you go to the first part, you can hear about our different websites, our network and all the different websites, but I want to go straight to the verbs. So most verbs are regular in the present tense. Okay? We talked about the verb to be, which is irregular, the verb to go, which is irregular in the present tense. The verb to have is also irregular. It's I, you, we, they have. Okay, all you do is take off the to and you have it, and he, she, it has. The past tense, one form, had. The perfect tenses, that is the past participle. The perfect tenses are the tenses with have. The past participle is had. So when the verbs are irregular in the present tense, you have maybe about 2 to 3 more words to learn. But normally speaking, when you're talking about verbs in English in the present tense, normally speaking, the present tense is regular. You have maybe about 10 verbs that are irregular. Okay. Therefore, normally speaking, all you really have are 3 words for irregular verbs to memorize. 3 words. That's it. 3 words. And what you can do, should do, because you have to memorize these verbs, is to come into Welcome Network. We have about 3 different sets of irregular verbs depending on how much detail you want. Okay, as far as meaning is concerned. Some, we have one set of cards in which all you do is have the verbs. The 3 different forms of the verbs. Okay, the present form, the past form, and the past participle. Each form is used in different tenses. Okay, and you can download those cards, and then take 2 to 3 with you a day and memorize them. And within a couple of months, you will know all the irregular verbs. The irregular verbs in English are extremely important. They're the most important part. They're the most important verbs in the language. They're the most frequently used verbs in the language. They're the oldest verbs of the language. Okay? They form the core, help form the core of the language. So you have to memorize them. Alright? But you normally only have to memorize 3 words. Let's use the word, for example, I'm looking here at the irregular verbs in I Study Guides and I Study Cards, and we have the verb to become. So you have become, became, become. Those 3 words are the 3 words you need in order to do all the different tenses. Now each word is used differently. If you're talking about the present tense, it's become. He, she, it becomes. If you're talking about the future, it's become. I will become. If you're talking about the negative, I do not become. Or if you're talking about the negative past, I did not become. But if you're talking about the past, I became. I, you, we, they, he became angry, for example. If you're talking about one of the perfect tenses, for example, the present perfect, I have become very disillusioned. Okay? If you're talking about the past perfect, I had become very disillusioned. But all you need are the 3 words. For example, you have the verb to beat. To beat. So, in the present tense, you don't have to worry. It's regular. It's beat, beat, beaten. So, he beat me yesterday at cards. Alright? That means he won yesterday. Alright? So, here, beat, the present tense, and beat, the past tense, are the same. It's not always like that. That's why it's irregular, because sometimes it just seems easier than others. All right. Sometimes you have 3 different words. It all depends. All right. But, and they're memorized. And sometimes when the words are almost the same, then it's not that hard to memorize. But take the cards with you. Take 2 or 3 and memorize 2 or 3 verbs a day. Okay. Let me see. Let me get another verb that's, because I'm looking at the cards. This one is the overview. So these have the most important cards. Okay, this one, you're going to have 3 different words. Begin, began, begun. So begin is used in the present tense. It's used with the negative. I do not begin. I did not begin. Future, I will begin. I should begin. I could begin. I would begin. Yesterday, I began to speak Spanish. Or I began to cook. Whatever. Okay. Begun. I haven't begun yet. I had begun to cook when blah 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 happened. Okay. I will have begun. Alright. So with begin, the verb to begin, there you do have 3 forms. But it's not that radically different. It's begin, began, begun. Okay. Alright, let me give you another one. This one is to bet. Now to bet is present form, bet. Past form, bet. Past participle form, bet. So nothing changes. And that's why it's irregular. Because if it were regular, the past tense would end in ed and the past participle would be ed. Okay? But here nothing changes. Bet, bet, bet. Bet is apostar in Spanish. And it's an important verb. It's important. You use in English you say, I bet you. That means I'm sure that I'm right about something. When somebody says, I bet you he didn't do it. Okay. Interesting. In British English, I'm just looking at the card now. In British English, it's different. And in American English, do not say this in American English. In British English, it's regular. So British English is to bet. The past tense, I guess, is betted. And the past participle is betted. That is not the case in American English. In American English, to bet is irregular and you don't hear betted. But in British English, you do. Interesting. I didn't know I had that. I forgot I had that. It's been a while. Okay, to bite. To bite, morder. It's bite, bit, bitten. Okay, so bite, you use it that's the present form. Bit, the past form. And bitten, the past participle. Bleed, to bleed. Okay, sangrar, to bleed. So bleed, present tense form. Bled, past tense form. Bled, past participle. Okay, I skipped one, and I think this one I want. Yes, to blow, like you go to blow. So it's blow, blue, like the color blue, but it's spelled B-L-E-W, blue, blown. Give you one more, and like I said, you can come in and you can download all the cards or some of the cards. To break, so it's break, broke, broken. The verbs are important. They should be memorized. They should be learned correctly. You just don't say them in any way, no more than you would do it in your own language or another language. So this is Corrala Ficklin at corralaficklin.com.